know, there's a subversive crisis interwoven with the fiscal crisis, and it's social engineering by the way of inflation. What do I mean by that? Well, here to explain it is Lowell Ponte. He's co-authored a book with one of my advertisers, Craig Smith of Swiss America. The book is called The Inflation Deception, 6 Ways Government Tricks Us and 7 Ways to Stop It. Joining me now on the Savage Nation, Lowell Ponte.
It's a pleasure to be here, Dr. Savage.
Well, we know government tries to manipulate and control people in a variety of ways, but how do they do it through inflation?
Well, in our new book, we try to go into a whole range of things they're doing. Our book is almost as deep in its own way as your brilliant book, Trickle Up Poverty. So in The Inflation Deception, Craig R. Smith and I have dug to the roots of what government fiat money really is, how government uses it to deceive us and control us. We show, for example, how the Obama administration deliberately uses inflation as a hidden tax on all of us. Every time they print money, they devalue the money that you have earned, saved, hidden under your mattress. They can take the value out of your money even if they don't know you have it, or even if you've been able to get it on the black market. Basically, anyone who relies on government fiat money, paper money nowadays, is subject to being taxed continually. In fact, they can tax away almost all the value of their money anytime they wish. We show, for example, how the Obama administration deliberately uses inflation the way Lenin proposed. By debasing the money, you not only destroy the bourgeoisie, you not only destroy the social values associated with the bourgeoisie, such as savings and hard work, but you enrich the government. Frankly, inflation is being used for social engineering and income redistribution because without inflation, you cannot sustain a welfare state. If you had to pay for a welfare state with honest taxes on honest, stable money, you couldn't do it because the economy goes up and down. But welfare payments always have to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You can't allow those payments to go down if you're running a welfare state. So therefore, they have to have a money system they can print as much of as they want, whenever they want.
Well, Lowell, you've said that inflation is like an addictive drug. How does it work in that way?
Scientists have now helped develop a discipline called Neuroeconomics. They're discovering how money and inflation can also trigger chemical changes in the brain just the way an addictive drug does, and how we are being controlled through this. For example, under money illusion, which economists also call inflation illusion, people will irrationally think that it is better to get a $4 raise in a 5% inflationary environment than it is to get a $2 raise in a 1% inflationary environment. In the environment Mr. Obama is now creating, the inflation is going to be so high that, frankly, nobody will be able to save for retirement reliably because the dollar is disintegrating in front of our eyes. This is why we desperately need to get back to some form of money or value that the politicians can neither create nor destroy by printing. Whether that is bullets, whether that is antiques, whether it's survival food, or the standard of gold and silver. By the way, you might have noticed just a few days ago, Ron Paul in Congress asked Ben Bernanke, the chairman of the Federal Reserve Board, is gold money? And Bernanke said, no, gold is not money. Well, Michael, you and I know, and your audience knows, the U.S. Constitution says gold is money, but paper isn't. The Bible says gold is one of only 4 things that are really money: cattle, land, silver, and gold. So this week, Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke repudiated both the U.S. Constitution and the Bible in sworn testimony before Congress.
So what's this form of government which you've termed inflatocracy?
What we've come to call inflatocracy is government of, by, and for inflation. A government that relies simply on printing more and more money as an alternative to open taxation. As Lenin, the founder of the Soviet Union, said, the way you destroy the bourgeoisie is to grind it down between the millstones of taxation and inflation. You literally disintegrate social values. So, for example, in the paradigm established by America's founders, Ben Franklin said a penny saved is a penny earned. In the new paradigm of the inflatocracy, a penny saved is a penny lost to inflation. They believe, as John Maynard Keynes did, that saving is actually evil, that savings prevent the money from moving as fast as possible through the economy, and that slows the economy down. That retards economic growth. So people who save are evil, And of course, people who saved are punished under an inflatocracy by losing the value in their savings. Just how insane has our government gotten, Michael? Our government now, 42 cents out of every dollar it spends is borrowed money. Borrowed from people like communist China, who therefore own us. The Bible itself says the person who is a debtor is a slave to the person he owes that money to. We owe it to communist China. So how fast are we borrowing, Michael? We are borrowing $58,000 a second. And adding that to the debt, to the bar tab our children, grandchildren will pay. So count with me, dot, dot, dot. Your government has just borrowed another $174,000 and added it to our debt. $3.5 million a minute, $210 million an hour. For some historic perspective on what that means to pioneering Americans, back in 1803, Thomas Jefferson bought from a bankrupt Napoleon a thing called the Louisiana Purchase, 890,000 square miles of land. That land today constitutes the states of Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, as well as sizable portions of what today are, gasp, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, and the southern parts of Alberta and Saskatchewan. That's what we now borrow every hour and 10 minutes in inflation-adjusted dollars. If you want to round it off to 2 hours, Michael, you can throw in what the U.S. paid in 1867 for Alaska,